Welcome everyone again to another workshop with the 100 Days of No Code community. Really excited to have Sharaf from Draftbit with us today. Not only because Sharaf's obviously a bit of a no code godfather, but of course we're excited also to hear about the wonderful powers of Draftbit as well. So we're going to be just like normal. We're going to be going for a tour around the tool, getting to know what it is, its powers, use cases, and then at the end open up for a Q&A. So hopefully that sounds good, and let's get going. Over to you, Sharaf.
All right, so I hope everyone's doing okay today. A little bit of myself for people who doesn't know me. I'm Sharaf. I've been a maker since like 3 years, shipping projects left, right, center using no-code tools. I'm super bullish on the whole no-code movement in general and in the maker movement in general. So I'm a big advocate of building public, community building, Twitter, whatnot. You name it, like I'll be there. So, but I recently joined Draftbit as a product evangelist, and part of the role is for me to interact with the community and give sort of like a walkthrough, help you guys like figure out the ideas you have, and make MVPs possible. So I'm like super pumped to meet this particular group who I have associated with long, like almost like more than a year. I know Max since like the initial days of 100 Days of No Code, so particularly attached to this community, and I'm pumped to talk today and give an intro about Draftbit, what we're doing, and what we're going to build in future, and what you guys can actually take advantage of the actual builder which we build for you. So a little bit about Draftbit. Draftbit is a no-code tool, a no-code, low-code tool for people who wants to build mobile apps. You can actually call it like a Webflow for mobile. So the interface looks very similar, and we wanted to like empower people to build mobile apps without writing single line of code. And you can ask me what is the big difference between Draftbit and other no-code platforms like Dalo, I don't know, V1, all those other no-code tools. We actually give the real source code to you. So you can actually generate a source code where you can actually, if you want to scale this thing, whatever app you want to build to the next level, we give you that. And that is something like, that makes Draftbit unique. And everything is real time, the React Native code is built in real time. So I'm going to show you a little bit. Let's actually dive deeper into the walkthrough, and I want to make this more interaction oriented instead of me going one way. I want you to participate and ask me questions as I give the demo. So let me start sharing my screen. Give me 1 second. Oops. Okay. Meanwhile, I think you can prep the questions. In general, like, I'm also, we can also talk about like the maker mindset and whatnot about no code in general. So feel free to like, chip in. And what's wrong with, I think can you guys hear me? Because my internet is really slow, but.
Yeah, you're coming through really clearly. Yeah.
All right, so here we are. Let me just give you like an end-to-end walkthrough, like, resources. I'll talk about like in detail, like 101 about the builder we built and the use cases you can use and whatnot. So this is sort of like the first look for the builder or the dashboard. In the dashboard, you obviously can view like all the apps which you build. So what's new is something we recently added. We ship features iteratively, like, every once in 2 weeks, and, based on the cadence we work on. So you can see the upgrades like treat it as a change log, and you'll see like all of these updates in here. We do have a couple of interesting things. We call, one of them is starter apps, where we help people like you doesn't have to like start from scratch, make it like, you don't have to like build app from a blank page. What you can do is like you can use these starter apps we build for you to sort of like kickstart your ideas and customize accordingly. And these starter apps will be like will grow in future with hundreds of different use cases. So that's one thing I stress out. Same thing applies to example screens, except the starter apps contains end-to-end flow. So you can actually have literally an app built already for you, and you can customize and use it according to your use case. The example screens are something like which are hand-picked. So let's say you want to pick an app setting screen, you want to pick a profile screen, you want to pick a login screen. You can pick all these and like add it to your app and customize it, and obviously like launch it. So that's one thing. Obviously, have a look at it. We are building more example screens day by day, and we are going to add them to this particular catalog. And you see data-driven example screens as well, which are powered by, I'm going to talk about a couple of things relating to data, powered by Airtable or powered by our own example data, which we build. So also we have something called community. I feel if you are part of Draftbit, I 100% recommend you to participate in this. People are very generous. They are very helpful. They give a lot. They help other people, other makers in here. Be it like general discussions. If you're stuck somewhere, I highly recommend you go here and like ask a question. Also, we've made where is it? Yeah. So we've made a knowledge base for you. So this knowledge base consists of everything regarding to Draftbit, like the 101 to the advanced standard of like how to work with REST APIs, how to use endpoints, how to integrate different types of third-party integrations like Airtable, Webflow CMS, Bubble CMS, like whatnot. So I highly recommend, like if you have any questions, like I said, starting from the bits, the blocks, the components we use at the builder, and which I'm going to show in a minute. Everything is pretty much solidly documented here. So highly recommend you guys go there and go through each by each, like one by one. So last thing, we have a feature roadmap. I also will urge you to like if you need any feature requests, go here, ask like put a title, put a description, and I personally thoroughly look into this and communicate with our team based on the words, based on like what people want, and we always prefer or prioritize what people want and build something for you guys. So again, that's something I'll highly recommend. I'm going to send all the links after this. Don't get overwhelmed with the information. The last thing I want to do is we actually have something called Draftbit tutorials. So this, one second. There you go. So the tutorials page consists of video tutorials, that describe specific use cases and specific steps, connecting external data, how to use example screens, building your first screen, how to publish, how to preview, and everything from end to end what we did. So also that's something like you have to look into it. I highly recommend people to go there. And yeah, so that's more of like the 101. Any questions so far? Again, I want to make this interactive, and let's make it two-way. So feel free to like ask a question.
Sure. Yeah, we've got one in future. Yeah, as it's quite an intimate group, let's just feel free to just come off mute. But I'll read this one out from Eddie. Really cool seeing the roadmap being publicly accessible. How do you balance the most upvoted requests with your internal priorities? Good question.
That's a good question. So we do have our own roadmap, and we also obviously look into the priorities which you set, and we will be mindful about like to balance both. in a way, we have like, 6 rockstar engineers in our team, and we divide and conquer in a way that will deliver features for you. So that's why, go there and add the feature you want. We'll prioritize accordingly to the goals and to the OKRs we want to hit quarter by quarter.
Sure. And great. And Tony asked, is it all for public or in beta still? I'll let you take that one, obviously.
So Draftbit is right now in private beta. We are sending invites on a regular basis, and for this particular group, feel free to reach out to me and Max, whoever wants access to Draftbit. I want to personally invite you to use Draftbit, like after this call, literally. So reach out to us.
Awesome. Nice. Exciting. So, and one from Mike as well. What do you think the best tool is to build/manage a backend for an app hosted on Draftbit? Because obviously there was Airtable and Bubble, CMS, and various places. So it'd be good to know. And then also Mike asks same question, but for authentication as well.
Yes, I'm going to talk about authentication in a minute, but backend, I feel like it's up to you guys. So whatever you feel, I can impose, I am personally biased towards Airtable, and it is up to you. Anything that has an API, you can actually hook up to Draftbit. That's the beauty of Draftbit. So we use REST as a component and build anything. And the guides which I showed you is more of like a 101 for you to kickstart things with. But if you have an API, you can hook up with Draftbit. So my personal preference is Airtable, but again, feel free to explore and experiment with other databases, and we are open to everything. And we are also highly iterating on integrating these databases natively so that you don't have to use REST, but you can actually directly hook up with Draftbit. So everything 2021 is going to be really exciting for us and for makers like you using Draftbit, because we lined up so many amazing features for for people like makers like you who can take advantage of it. So
that's all the questions so far. I just had one actually myself around the example screens. Are these kind of like components that you can just add in? Not so much the workflows behind them, but the actual screens. Can you just like add these into your app if you like the look of them?
Yes. So what you can actually directly add to a workspace. So here is a workspace you can create right now. I'm an admin, so I can create multiple workspaces. But once you create a workspace, you can literally pick one and add it to that workspace and that particular app, and you can work from there. So this is more of like a catalog / a series of screens combined into one place. So I'm going to show, if the questions are done, I'm going to show the example, the builder, which is the real deal.
Awesome. Yeah, all good to go.
Awesome. So what I did was I already built an app for you guys, sort of like an example app. This is more of like a podcast. We recently added an audio feature, so you can literally build a podcast app. So again, unlike like any other no-code tool, there are some limitations and there are some extreme amazing possibilities you can use with any of these tools. Like for Draftbit, the use cases you have to go through is more of like curation oriented. You can actually retrieve data from these backend. You can actually submit data, and you can actually showcase the data. So right now we don't have the authentication piece in place. That is something we're working on. As we speak, literally our engineers are crunching the code to build the authentication piece integrated to Draftbit. But I'll just give you like a walkthrough, how the builder looks and whatnot. So on the left side, you have like the screens tab, themes, navigation, data, which is more of like controlling the app itself on a high level. and themes usually apply, to throughout the app, and you can go through, like, customize it accordingly to your brand and whatnot. So the navigation is more of like, since I only have one page, it shows like the flow where the pages are going, and data is something, I want to stress out. So right now I just hooked Airtable using a REST API. So in order to do that, you just have to tap on add a REST API, name any service, and add a base URL. So for us, I already added this before, so let me go there. So our base URL is, I've created a podcast, profile, just to show for the sake of this demo, and add the base URL. And you basically, before even going there, I want to show that. One second, sorry, my bad. So before even going there, you have to add like a global variable, which is more like, personal Airtable value. You have to pick from the API key, which you're going to get from here. So do that. If you can pick that and add it to the base, and that's it. That's the global variable you need to take care of. And after that, you just have to add the URL and start creating endpoints. So for now, for the sake of the discussion and the demo, I'm just going to showcase what we did with the podcast host, which is literally like, the table which I've created in Airtable. And once you add the endpoint and the path to the param, and you can literally see the data flowing from Airtable to Draftbit. So all the records are here. You can see right now, I'm just like, collapsing them so that you can actually see them one by one. So once you have these endpoints set up, and all you need to do is go to the builder and start adding screens. So to actually utilize the data, you need to like start using fetch component, which is where you actually see the Airtable data passing here. So it's already built in. So the service is the podcast host, and I'm just like using this endpoint, and you can literally see the data. And under that, you should have something called view. Basically, I highly recommend, the best practice we at Draftbit highly recommend is to build views. View is more of like a container. And under the view, you can actually have a text box, you can have an image, you can have buttons, and it flows from there. So like I said, under a view, now you can see literally the field name, which I picked from Airtable. So here is the URL or the image URL, and here is like, the field. So that's it. So once you hook up the Airtable, and once you have these bits and pieces, so the way you add bits and pieces is you just tap on plus here, and it will show you like multiple components, like text component, image component, audio player, video player. There's a divider. There is like, list components, and so on and so forth. So you can also have buttons, the progress bars, fields, input fields, little cards we built for you, which are in build. And the beauty about these components is, let's say you want to save this particular component and utilize it like multiple times, you can actually save as a custom block. So once you build that, you can use anywhere, in the app flow. So that is more of like the layout here. And we very recently shipped the top nav bar, which is something completely new. You can add a screen from here itself. So you don't have to go back and forth from the dashboard and whatnot. So let's say if I want to add author bio, or I don't know, let's add author bio, which is, so once we add that, we generate the screen. Everything that's happening right now is in real time. We are generating React Native code, which I'm going to show now. And that's it. So now your job is like, that's why example screens and example apps are so powerful, because we already made it for you. It is now your job is more of like done, because you just have to customize it and accordingly like play with it. The other thing is, so in order to like preview the app, there are like two ways. One is we use Expo as a third-party service. Like, you can see live preview. If you just open, let me see. If you just open your camera phone and just say, you have to have an Expo in your app. If you have an Expo, it'll look like this. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah.
So right now the app is literally ready. I built an app in Draftbit. I can use it like an actual app. I'm going to show you like an audio file, which is going to play in a minute. So this is more for like, people who want to test in real time. And we very recently shipped something called, let me show you the app, 1 second.
Every episode we
There you
plan
go.
on getting rich. All of it based on his tweet storm of how to get rich without getting lucky.
So
I've collected them all here because we're going.
It is playing from my phone. So we have an audio component, which is like, which is in real time. So the other thing which we recently shipped, I'm going to show you, is like the live preview in the builder itself. Meaning we load Expo in the builder, and you can play, you can test the app without even going back and forth with the phone. So that is something that's completely new. And another new feature we launched is multiple screens. So if your app has multiple screens, you can literally pick and choose, play with them accordingly, and see like a holistic view of like the whole screens of your app.
Sharaf, do you mind? There's a question in the chat from Ash. I just thought I'd pop it over to you. He asked, is there any gesture or touch integration built into Draftbit? So could you create a TikTok-like navigation or something like a drawing app, Pictionary? But feel free, Ash, to come off mute and expand on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Sheriff can still hear me, but yeah, no.
For some reason, I'm unable to hear Ash.
Yeah. No worries. Was that enough of did you get that question?
Yeah. So we do have like something called, I haven't gone through there yet, but we have something called, there is a properties panel here, which will talk about layouts, margin, padding, size, position. This is the Flexbox integrated in Draftbit. So if you're familiar with Flexbox, your life is very easy. You can basically nail Draftbit in a minute or so. You can basically change the design in a way that works for you. We do have like configs panel where you can set up the name, description. This is what I think Ash's question is. So you can control the app to be scrollable or not. You have these settings. Again, you can actually have like a data tab. Once you integrate an Airtable, you can now play with picking the right field and choosing the right field according to your use case. So the last thing is the interaction. So Ash, I think this is the question which you're looking for. You can literally navigate a screen to screen using the action feature. So let me actually show you a real-time example which we did. This is this is called BookBit, an app where we showcase, we feature a book and a trending book and so on and so forth. So let's go to preview mode. So I'll show you in parallel, like, what we built. So tapping on discover books on the landing page, you literally have a page which we showcase like certain books, right? So there are two things you can do. You'll observe here. One is this view is scrollable horizontally, and there is also a vertical scroll view where you can integrate. Those are the settings you need to go in config and play with it. And from a navigation standpoint, let's say in this particular screen, I'm going to navigation. Think we go see 1 second. What? It's weird. So technically you can actually, I don't know, something's wrong with the builder, I guess. Technically you can navigate using the action feature here. You can actually add a trigger and add an action based on the touchable and whatnot. So, oh, I think my bad. There it is. So we have a component called touchable. So if you add this component, basically that particular area is touchable. Everything else is not touchable. So you can control what, if it is a button, it is automatically touchable. But if it is a text field which you want to touch and act as a navigator or a trigger, yes, you can do that. So you can add an action here. In this particular screen, it is actually going to book profile. And we are passing the data, which I'm going to show in a minute. So again, these are the inbuilt screens for this particular example. And you can navigate the app fluidly within the app, within the builder, or on your phone. So those are the two amazing things you can do to test out Draftbit instantly. Ash, I hope that I answered your question. Awesome.
Perfect. He said the action feature was just what I was looking to know about. So all good. And just off the back of that, we had one question I think ties in nicely. It from Mike. How small can custom blocks be? So do they also contain interactions, or is it just the front end? I'm not sure if that's clear, but otherwise, Mike, just feel free to come off mute.
Yeah, sorry for the bad wording there. Sharad, do you think that that's something that's clear enough, or should I explain a little bit?
So what do you mean by interactions? Do you mean gestures as such?
Well, basically, so when you're making these custom blocks that you can use later on, right? So these components that you can reuse, do they contain kind of how it's styled, or is it also taking along what it does? So if I reuse it somewhere else, does it have the same interactions and triggers attached to it by default?
Yes. So yeah, if you want to use this particular thing, anything that's data related, you have to hook up again. But all the styling themes will be carried out throughout the settings. So
right,
let's say we just all the Flexbox settings. What I mean is the design settings will be carried out throughout, and it depends on the fetch component and where do you want to add based on the tree structure and whatnot. So the layout is made in a tree structure, if you guys actually are seeing this. So that's why we prefer you to create views under a view, so that it remain as a container, and it makes so easy for you to navigate back and forth. Hope that I answered you.
Yeah, for sure. That's super clear. Thanks.
Yeah, awesome. So the last thing I want to show you is, like I said, this is why Draftbit is super powerful. As we build new screens, you literally get source code. You can export the whole app, copy the specific code, and you can basically do whatever the hell you want. So that is something I personally that is something that differentiates Draftbit from other apps. Again, you can share it with others. You have a publish link where you can actually generate a PWA and send it to others. So when people hit on this particular link, they can actually use the app. They don't have to have Expo anything. Based on this link, they can use any app. That's why. So now talking about the possibilities, right? Like I said, see, you can actually use apps like these, which are more curation oriented, which you showcase certain information. You can post data, you can retrieve data from Airtable, you can test the data, you can pass with other people and whatnot. Now, there are some limitations as well. As of now, right now, we don't have authentication inbuilt with Draftbit. That is something we are working hard enough to put it outside for you guys. So our plan is to start with Firebase integration, and where you can actually use Firebase for authentication. And our goal is to have an in-house integrated natively an authenticated module, so that you don't have to worry about Firebase and all that external things, but fluidly use Draftbit on a whole. So any questions?
We had one from Andrew a little while back, just related to, is there any ability to work with offline data to be synced back when reconnected? And again, yeah, Andrew, feel free to expand if you didn't get that, Sharaf.
Can you give me more details, Andrew? That would be great. You're on mute.
There's Andrew gone. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. We can't hear you, Andrew. We'll get back to that later. We've got plenty of time. But yeah, just feel free to expand on that when you're ready.
So the other thing, like I showed how you can easily integrate Airtable, what we did for you guys is to play with data and how you can use data instantly. We did something called example data service. So what we did was we actually built a backend for you to test, play with it with multiple use cases. Like we have an authors page, we have books data, we have if you're a sneakerhead like me, you can find out sneakers data useful. So basically what I mean is this is something a test data for you to play with and use example this URL as a REST API, and we show this actual example is driven by test data. So in a minute I'll show you. Yeah, there you go. So this is the example data we have, and we've created many endpoints just based on the use case. So let's say one of the use case I want to explore is to show trending books, right? So in some of the use cases, newly added books. And one other use case I have is to show, there it is, just to show a particular quote or a series of quotes from a book. So according to your use case, you can actually play with the data. So here, book of the day, we feature books from by author, newly added books, and we feature quotes and whatnot. So you can create as many endpoints as you want and display the data accordingly and design in a way that caters the data. So that is something I also highly recommend people to use, so that you'll be familiar with using, reading JSON files and, putting the data, how to use the data, how the data is flowing from a REST API to actually a usable front-end piece. So what else?
Off the back of that, Shrav, just wants to ask a question from Vency around, does this tool need sort of coding experience, or is it a no-code tool?
So it is a no-code, low-code tool. So if you're a developer, right, you can literally add custom code. So if you are familiar with CSS, you have logic built already in your app, you can literally add a custom code block and utilize it instantly. And we integrate overall on a source code level, generate a React native code according to your code you added. So for people for no coders, you can literally add components, the bits and pieces, and play around and build an app quickly, as quickly as you can. So on that note, I want to show you something called what we did. Where is it? There you go. So last year, around Christmas time, we launched something called BuildAthon, which is which is to empower makers like no-code makers in general and specific to show the power of Draftbit. You can literally build a functional app within 1-2 hours. And we made it possible by giving this course or sort of like, a lesson by lesson thing. We've sent these emails like, like a campaign for 1 week, and people literally started building using Draftbit day by day. So this is something I highly recommend for beginners, just to understand how to build a screen, how to use Airtable, how to submit data to Airtable, how to design things, how to publish at the end. So it closes the loop end to end. So to answer your question, Vency, I feel like Draftbit is for non-technical, semi-technical, and technical people. That's why we're so different from others. We cater like wide variety of audience.
Awesome. No, that's great. And just to follow up on Andrew's question earlier, he sort of elaborated, basically saying, giving an example. So let's say you create a tasks app. Can you update data from there in Airtable, or is it read only? And then he says, if you can write data, is that cached if you go offline? But again, yeah, have another try, Andrew, if you're not sure on that one, Sharaf.
I understood. I think submitting data to an Airtable is literally possible, and you can literally do it in in seconds. But I don't understand the offline question. Maybe maybe Andrew, feel free to detail it out with either to Max or me. I can actually maybe hop on a call with one-on-one with you and clarify that. But you can, if you have an Airtable and if you want to submit or if you want to add some data to Airtable, it is possible right now. The only caveat there is the Airtable is powered by REST API, and if someone wants to add something, it will be added to your own personal airbase, whatever the table which you have created. So you can't copy or clone Airtable bases as of now. That is something we are exploring. So basically, there'll be one common Airtable base, and everybody can use it. Everybody can submit the data. Everybody can read the data according to the app you build. And we use, like I said, in the data, if you go to REST API. So if you go to an endpoint, right? I think not this one. Let me show you in a minute. So that's more of it about Draftbit. Any questions in general, do you want to know or curious about?
Should we maybe take the screen share off and then we can see everyone? Yeah, awesome. Hello. Yeah, just come off mute. It's, as I said, it's very intimate. So just yeah, if you've got any questions.
Shrath, sorry if you covered this already, but did you just say connecting to an Airtable base, for example, that everyone would have access to the same base? What is the kind of solution to do something like logged in users see their own content or stuff like that? Is that something that is super easy to do, or do you need to kind of hack around it?
Yes, you need to kind of hack around it for now.
Yeah,
that is something we're solving, Mike. We want to integrate Airtable natively so that you can clone a base, so that instead of people giving access to your personal base to others, it's like
so it's like a template base, more or less.
Exactly. So you can clone these bases, and according to login, they can change. And when it comes to authentication as well, we're still figuring out how to fluidly navigate individually for people who log in and see specific data instead of exposing all the data. So those are
Nice.
some pieces we're exploring, and that is something we're going to ship. I don't know, in 1 2
Can I
months.
can I run my hacky method by you just to see if that's possible right now? I was doing this in Adalo a few months ago, or trying to do this, and making a Adalo and Bubble combination. And I was what I did basically, when someone signed on, I just created like an organization or a user field in Airtable, and I just showed them a filtered view of just their, or like it's theoretically the same base, but I just showed them their like any row with their field. Would that be possible in Draftbit? So if someone signs up, I just give them an ID and then I just show those rows?
100%.
Okay.
That is
Cool.
possible.
Thanks.
That's what I think. You can, if you are like in a way a hacker, where you want to find
Very
not a
much a
perfect
hacker,
solution, but get things done and get shit done. Draftbit is all for you. That's what I said. Draftbit is for no coders, semi-technical people, and technical people. So
cool.
we can, Mike, we can actually, I can show you, like, we can play around with Draftbit about the specific things you mentioned, and like see how we can implement that.
I'd love to. I have a specific ID, so that'd be great. Yeah, awesome. Thanks.
Anything else? So I would say to everyone that there is a little bit of learning curve when it comes to using Draftbit. So you need to go through the resources which I mentioned before, showing the demo or the walkthrough. It takes a little bit of, you need to like know a little bit of like how REST API works, how to read a JSON, like how to read the data, how to do input fields, like, hooking up the data to specific fields and whatnot. But it is dead easy. So if you spend like a day or two and practice, you can build apps like, within hours.
Talking of like apps, I got a question from someone that couldn't be here today, but he was just curious as to like what are some of the coolest things that have been built on Draftbit. Yeah, he'd love to see an example, or yeah, just hear some stories.
Since it's in private beta, and we're not like, we don't have a public portfolio yet. That
Sure.
is something we are working on as well. And since it's private beta and a lot of people are building apps, some sort of privacy issue, we don't want to like expose it to like, others. So
Sure.
Long story short, we don't have like a catalog of examples, but that's why we're building our own example screens and example apps, so that we showcase you guys, hey, this is possible. The podcast app was built, I built like that in half a day. So nice. I hooked up. It is so you'll treat this funny. I've spent a lot of time researching, gathering the data, and I've spent less time building it. So that Draftbit is so powerful that it literally enables you to build and ship things fast. When it comes to like curation oriented things, be it like, again, anything can be possible. Like you can build an e-commerce app, meaning you can actually have a products list and a details list, and you can build a restaurant menu app where you can showcase like different recipes. You can build a notes app, you can build like, there's n number of use cases that's possible. At the same time, like I said, I want to be mindful here. When it comes to login authentication, that is something, a limitation for now, but eventually we'll open that up as well for you guys.
Awesome. I just saw Vency put in the chat, we'll feel free to just message Sharaf or me, and we'll get access this afternoon or tomorrow, whenever. So yeah, hopefully you won't be on the wait list for too long.
No, yeah. So that's something I want to offer everyone. So if you like what I showed, if you were curious, to play with Draftbit, hit me up on Twitter, or you can, hit me up through Draftbit, Twitter account as well. We are here. We wanted to like give access for this particular group, and we want to see what you can do with Draftbit. I'm really curious in general to test, like, Mike's already getting creative, with his solution. So
well, Yeah, I'm sure he'll whip up something pretty cool. Just a question as well from William around like how far away is Draftbit from sort of getting out of private beta? If you have a rough timings, but yeah.
Soon is the answer. Soon everyone is going to get access.
Nice. So I was thinking in terms of like we've got 10 minutes left and we've got a no code, as Ash put it, legend in the room. That we open up some questions, if you're okay, Sharaf, with that. Open up some questions on no code, making, mindset, etc., and community that Sharaf also knows about. So feel free to just ask on that as well, and set the parameters yourself, Sharaf, as well.
Go ahead, hit me up. I'm all ears. When it comes to anything that needs my attention, feel free to like ask any question. I'm happy to share my own lessons and learnings. So yeah, let's use this 10 minutes for that.
Awesome. And please, just come off mute, guys. Would love to hear your voices. Go on, I'll answer this one. Oh no, Vency, you're good.
Hi, Sharath. Really nice to hear from you. Hi, everyone. This is the first time I'm actually speaking on one of these calls. So, Sharath, thank you so much for answering my first question. My second question was, how are you managing your time between Draftbit and Shoutout? Because you're doing a lot of work already, and then you're also very active on Twitter. So I don't know how you do it. So, do you have any tips for us, or how do you do it?
That's a very good question. I get that question like quite often. I mean, I don't see it as work. I see it as a play. So when you see something as like something you enjoy truly, I don't feel like stressed or burdened or anything. I can go on forever and ever and ever. So I've been doing this like almost like 5 years now. I have a 9-to-5 job even to today now. In the last 5 years, I do had a 9-to-5 job, which is from a corporate life, but I did manage. I hate that word manage, because it is something you impose. It is pure natural to me, at least, because I love doing the stuff which I'm doing, and I'm privileged and blessed and grateful for the opportunities I'm getting. So just to answer, I think if you find something you really love, and you don't have to manage, you again, that's what I said, like if you work on something you love, you don't need motivation. You just do stuff for for the sake of doing. So that's how I've been like doing Shoutout. And but to answer that, I feel like my 9-to-5, when my 9-to-5 ends, my 5 p.m. to 9 a.m. starts. That's when I wake up every day 5 a.m. to 5:30, like around that time. Before my day kick starts, I focus on Shoutout. After my 5 p.m., obviously in nights, I do manage and work with Curtis. Curtis is like an amazing co-founder. I'm too lucky to have him. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sharath.
Sure.
Would you mind, I don't know if this is going too far, would you mind discussing the process of adding a technical person when you did Shoutout? I know you kind of tweeted about it, but I was wondering how you, and you don't have to go too far, discussing anything, like how was that feeling, like bringing someone into what was your idea, adding them to it, having them kind of build it, but it's still being yours. How did you discuss that split? How does that work between the two of you? That was just, making that jump from, being like, hey, this is a complete no code thing, but now I need to take it to the next level. I need to have a technical, you've used the term co-founder. I think you call him a technical co-founder, or as opposed to being like, hey, I'm just going to bring in someone technical and have them build it for me, but it's still like all mine. I don't know how you like delegate that, or how you feel like letting your baby go in that regard. I'm not sure if you could just talk about that. I hate to talk about questions, but just describe that process, because I think we all aspire to kind of get there, and just you're there. So how did that feel, and what did you go through as a mental process?
Yes, so you've touched a lot of things in that one question. I feel like I want to address each one of them individually. The first thing is, how do you know you have to go from 1% to 2%? People, customers, users, like you guys. So I asked like people like Ash, KP, who were the early users for Shoutout, and I asked him, what do you want? And they asked like features which I can do technically. So that's one of the answers. So when you realize that it is getting out of your hands, that's when you introduce like a new, you find a technical co-founder. The other thing is, that's why no code is so powerful. I love the whole no code movement is because of that. You ship an MVP and you show the potential for the users, and they speak to you and ask for more features. So ship that MVP. Don't rely on anyone. Be independent. You can build anything you want right now at this moment. So if you have an idea, launch a landing page, build a growing wait list, and ship that MVP and put it outside. Let the universe speak. They will actually tell you that, you know what, your idea sucks. We don't want it. And we've had so many other things to take care of. That's fine too. You move on. If they say, you know what, this is something I really want, I want to use for n number of use cases, that's the sign you need to pick up. And that's something when you wanted to scale, bring another person, whatnot. The third thing is, I'm not too attached to the idea. I'm attached to people. So I want to find long-term players, and who I work for, I don't know, like 80 more years. Ash is one of them. I truly admire him being in his call, just to call out. People is, I think, focus on that. Ideas and other things can fall in place once you start working with long-term players. So I'm not too attached to Shoutout, to be honest, because I can build another thing I don't know, in a week or so. I have shit ton of ideas. So it's not about the idea, it's about the execution and who you are working with. So, and what else you asked for? Did I covered all of them?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I think that was all of them. Just how the split was, the feeling of Delegate. But you said if you're attached to people, I think that answered that. So yeah, that's.
I think you naturally will find everything should happen naturally. If it's not happening naturally, I feel like it's not going to work in long term. Maybe it will work for short term. I don't feel like I'm delegating anything to Curtis per se. We are self-starters, right? We are motivated ourselves because we are solving something we really care about. Same thing applies to even, that's something that I really love about startups, particularly at Draftbit, right? Everyone is a self-starter. We don't have to ask people, hey, do this, do that. Everyone is they initiate themselves, all these projects, right? There are so many mini projects we work on at Draftbit, and which you might not know outside. Everything is self-driven, and that's the beauty of people. And that's why I love working at Draftbit as well, because everyone there, they're all self-motivated. They wanted to solve this problem, which is a huge market. No code is still, there is no other app like Draftbit which can actually work with no coders, semi-technical, technical people, and whatnot. So again, focus on people, focus on talking to customers, focus on just getting the science, and you'll get there.
I think that's a good note to end on. Yeah, thanks everyone for coming, and of course Sharaf for sharing all your wonderful wisdom as always. So yeah, I just wondered if you had any final closing words that you'd like to share with everyone before we close up.
Yeah, from a founder mindset or from a maker mindset, I highly encourage everyone to take action. when I say action, don't fulfill the dream you have. Start small. Start literally taking micro steps. Build one screen today and you one for the day. I'm telling you, that compounds over time. You don't have to build the whole thing today or in a day or so. So start very small, have macro dreams, but focus on micro actions. That is very important, and be consistent, and start doing things, take things in your control and put it outside. Again, build in public. We didn't talk about build in public. Build everything in public, period. That's it. That's something I advocate hugely. So if anything, if you guys have any ideas about mobile apps you want to build, reach out to me. I'm happy to help take that idea from 0 to 1, bring that idea to life using Draftbit, obviously, and we can work together. And I wanna encourage this group again to ship more, ship MVPs, give more, do more, and that's it.
Thanks so much. Yeah, and just a reminder, everyone, want access to Draftbit, then let me or Sharaf know, and we'll get you that access. So thanks, everyone. Have a great week and speak soon.